Rockstars, Music Monday. Thanks for coming. All right, today we're going to talk about singing and why practicing the scales that your teacher gives you is important. So I have a client, and if she sees this, I won't say her name, but she doesn't practice the scales I give her. Her mom plays the piano, so sometimes her mom will jump on the piano and play the same scales I play, and my client will just make up vowels and consonants and stuff that I've used in our lessons, but just make them up at the time. And I feel like we should talk about that today, because in my studio, I play scales. I'm listening to your voice. I'm hearing what's happening in this exact moment. And I am tweaking things as we go. Okay, change that vowel. Watch how you're doing this. Let's change the scale pattern. And then you recorded it, and then you take it home. And then you practice that throughout the week. So the idea of practicing that is to focus in on what you are doing maybe not as healthy-wise, and try to start building in better habits. And then the next week we start over. I'm like, oh, I'm hearing that. Oh, I'm hearing the same things. Okay, let's work on that again. Or, oh, I'm hearing something a little bit different today. Let's work on that. You go home and practice that. If you're going home and you're just randomly putting together words and vowels on a random scale, you think you're practicing because you're doing the same scales and the same word patterns that I use or that I give you, but it's not really the same, because you're just making stuff up with having no idea of what's happening inside your voice, what your folds are doing, what your larynx is doing, what your jaw is doing, what your tongue is doing. Which is why it is so important, one, that you sit in front of a teacher and they can hear you and see these things and then guide you in ways to help make you healthier, but also so that you can practice what your teacher is hearing throughout the week, so that you can instill those good habits and then move on to the next bad habit and then fix that habit. And then life will throw something at you like strep throat, and then you've got to kind of backtrack a little bit and start over, or COVID, and you've got some breathing issues and we have to work through those. I mean, life is life. It's just going to be the way it is. But making up your own stuff after having one or two lessons and you think you know what you're doing is really defeating the purpose. One, all of the education I've put myself through in order to become the amazing teacher that I am, but also you're depriving yourself of fixing your issues quickly, because it's going to take so much longer if you're just guessing and hoping you're doing something right, because you're too lazy to grab your phone and hit play and practice what your teacher wanted you to do. So it's going to take us so much longer, and who has time for that? Some people apparently just want to make up their own stuff. So anyway, here's the deal, guys. Your teacher is there to help you with your vocal issues. And if you're going to go home and make up your own stuff, then why are you taking the lessons? You could just make up your own stuff anyway and hope that it works, or trust your teacher that they know what they're doing and they can guide you to get you to the healthiest voice you can, the quickest you can. So if you are kind of like this client I have and kind of sort of practice and then kind of make up your own stuff, or try to remember how I'm supposed to be singing that song a little bit better, but without actually going back and listening to the advice your teacher gave you about singing that song, then really you are just taking too long. I mean, like I said, we all want to get where we want to go faster. I want to drop 20 pounds tomorrow. I want my best voice by the end of this week. Neither of those things are going to happen until you dig in and you do the real work. So that is the challenge. Do the real work that your teacher wants you to do for your voice.